You know what? We're just gonna do this off the cuff. It's um it's an interesting experience, isn't it? Because honestly, I find this thing here that we're doing, I find this extremely difficult. It would be so much easier if you just came over to my place, you know. I've got like five other seats here, you and the boys, you know, or the girls, you know, we could just be sat here eating good food, talking, you know, drinking good drinks and just talking about video games all day. That is so easy to do. Because this whole camera to personality, I guess, relationship, it feels more arduous than me traveling halfway across town to go meet a friend in person. There's just something difficult that I find about the process. You know, putting myself here in this chair, setting up the camera and everything. I feel like it's the setup, but even in my other room where the setup is a little bit more permanent, where I just have to click a few buttons, it feels artificial. It feels like an imitation of a real life connection. You know, for one, it's a one way street, isn't it? Because it's like you get to know me through the video, I guess. But unless you are particularly active in my friendship circle, you know, online though it may be, or unless you are particularly active in the comments, I don't really get to know you. And even then, it's then a more limited form of communication. It's an imitation of a semblance. There's levels of disconnect there. Whereas if you were here, you, the viewer, if you were here, we could talk for 7 hours about the PlayStation 5 Pro and the games we've enjoyed this generation and what the disappointments have been. And it will just be fluid. I'm loquacious. I could go on talking for days. And yet I think about making a video and it takes me about a week and a half before I eventually get to it. And usually it's only like at the point of ultimatum that I actually make a video because I'm thinking to myself, well, either you're gonna make this video now when it's already 2 weeks too late after you've been excited about the video. I've thought so much about what the video should talk about that I'm no longer excited to communicate it with you guys. Or just give up on the whole channel and then just close it all out because you just don't want to deal with it. So that's the point I'm finding myself in. Because let's be honest, there's inorganic elements to this form of communication. Number one, the camera is far harsher than your eyes will ever be. It will capture every detail, every imperfection, and the internet will remember it perfectly. We are kind of all insane for having embraced this medium of internet communication, aren't we? Because every little mistake you could ever make, every little, moment where you have stuttered or you said something foolish, that is now on the internet and everyone will ever see it again. And it's just, that's crazy. That is a crazy thing we're all doing. But I guess since most of us are kind of doing it together, we believe in the culture. But I feel like if a team of alien archaeologists came back, like to our planet, 3,000 after we're all dead, and then they found this period in time, they'd be like, that was foolish. So, that's the method, that's the place we find ourselves in. So, cheers to that. Good tea, lemongrass and ginger. I highly recommend it. If you're in Australia, there's this store called Tea Visions. Okay, they are super affordable, except the postage. The postage is super high. So if you're gonna do it, just commit to getting like a whole bunch of tea all at once, like multiple hundreds of dollars worth, because the postage is like $30, and that's ridiculous. So in any case, what we're here to talk about? We're here to talk about PlayStation, not tea, and not my weird relationship with whatever this medium is. Let's talk about PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay, now it has been about what, a week and so, like it's been a minute since Sony released the $700 price tag, and I think I made a video on it before. But a few things I forgot to say in that video. Number one, they couldn't have shown you any games. Okay, and let's just be straight up and say it. They couldn't have shown you any games because if they had showed you the games that you want to see, which is understandable, all you would have focused on, however, would have been the price tag at the end. They had to get the price tag out of the way so that you had the price shock, get that out of the way and all the negative feelings, and then you're going to get those out of the way. And then hopefully later, at a later presentation, they would then actually sell you on the product after the sticker shock has worn off, or at least after the initial kind of wave of bad reactions and bitchassery and fakeness from the media has gone through. So it's actually a very smart thing that they've done. However, it's only smart if they accompany it with an actual big presentation to actually sell you on the product. In the meantime, they have released the PlayStation 5 Pro. Well, they haven't released, but they have announced the PlayStation 5 Pro bundle with the whole 30th anniversary edition with the classic PlayStation 1 gray kind of color scheme. Very beautiful, very nostalgic. Not for me. I didn't own a PlayStation 1, and I've never really been a person to fall for the whole nostalgic trap. I think. I think there's a few things, of course. Everybody has like those few exceptions that prove the rule, but this wouldn't be the thing for me. Especially at the price tag that I think this thing is going to command. I think it's easily be beyond $1,000 US. So it has been interesting though to see people who were so opposed to the price tag of the PlayStation 5 Pro by itself, ready to jump out the window for this Pro bundle. A few other people have said this, and I've seen a tweet making the rounds basically saying that by having such a limited quantity of these consoles that will be produced, only 12,300 units, then Sony has made this for the scalpers, basically they've made it so hard to get that it's not really for the fans. And I have to say no to that. The reason I have to say no to that is that if this thing wasn't in limited quantity, you wouldn't want it. Like the entire point, the entire thing that gets you to covet this thing is knowing that you have one of only a few thousand examples out there in the world. And how many of them, do we get like that, especially in such a limited quantity? I mean, this will be a rare artifact. If you guys get a copy of this, listen, if you have the money, there are great economic reasons to not even touch it, to literally wrap it in bubble wrap, put it somewhere on the shelf, keep it pristine for about 20 years, and then probably buy your second mansion with that money. Like it will be something that is highly coveted and highly desired in the future. And if you keep it in pristine shape, Jesus Christ. And by the way, if you're going to keep it in pristine shape, literally wrap it in bubble wrap. Do not let dust or any other agents or some kind of weed termite infestation that you have come and ruin your sacrifice, because like if you're gonna do it properly. Like literally wrap it in bubble wrap, go to a bank, put it in a vault, don't look at it for 30 years, then come back and receive your grandchildren's trust fund money or whatever it is. So good luck of you to all of you that are going to pursue that. I don't think I'll be partaking in it. So I mean, listen, at the moment I just don't think I'll have the funds anyway, even if I wanted to. But at the same time, the classic gray coloring, it just doesn't go with my entertainment setup. So while I admire it like a piece of art that I see in a museum. It's good to look at, but it's not something I intend to take home. Good tea. Okay, so that PlayStation 5 Pro and a little bit of the talk around it. Now, I went back to one of the videos that I made out PlayStation 5 Pro. And basically I went back to all of the things that I wanted. I know I did this in the last video, that was a conversation topic. But I do wanted to kind of bring it forward again. In the last video, I forgot to say that Gran Turismo 7 is rumored to have an 8K mode. I don't know what that 8K mode will entail. I'm interested to find out these things though. But I want to kind of meld this and talk about the topic of remakes and remasters. Now there are more rumors, and you know how much I do not trust rumors, but let's entertain them for the sake of conversation, that Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone will be remastered. And some people are taking issues with this, they have a sense of affront. They're thinking to themselves, or at least they are saying that Sony should have taken those resources and invested them towards a remake or remasters that they will prefer, or put them into other projects, because we all know that PlayStation gamers are super welcoming of brand new IP they've never played before. That was sarcasm, by the way. The Concord still hurts. I think this is false. Listen, first of all, we need to get rid of this narrative, right, that we have, where we think to ourselves that if one project is made, that somehow stopped another project from being made. For example, let's say that you are in charge of PlayStation Studios, and let's say that each studio has two teams. One is working on like the big new thing that's supposed to like be new and interesting and shiny, and then another one is like a little side piece. It's a little team to the side that can do a smaller scope. Let's say that just for the sake of it, that at Guerrilla there's the Bravo team, and they are the ones that could either do a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn or another IP, or they could try like a smaller game, maybe like a spin-off of a Horizon game or another idea. No problem, whatever it is. Well, when we find ourselves in this space, let's say that for whatever reason you have assigned Horizon Zero Dawn remaster to Guerrilla B team, Bravo team, no problem. How would they going to make that into Bloodborne? I don't understand this silly conversation that we keep happening. Like it's like, oh, Sony chose not to remake Bloodborne over this. Sony chose not to. Maybe they have chosen to remake Bloodborne again. Maybe they haven't. But Horizon Zero Dawn being remastered was never going to influence Bloodborne. How does it stop Spyro the Dragon or Crash? I don't know. But the point is, the devs at Guerrilla have no experience making those other games, so they are not the team you would turn to. Same thing with Days Gone, right? I imagine that Days Gone is made by the people at Sucker Punch. What would they know about Bloodborne? They are not the people that worked on the team. Like it's such a silly thing because it's very childlike in its mentality. It refuses any sort of nuance. It just pretends that I guess Sony as an entity is kind of like a global conscience, and it could just dedicate itself to like these different projects, irrespective of the people that it would then use to make them. So yeah, I don't know. I just find that it's a boring conversation. It's gotten boring because every single time that a remake or remaster comes out, the first outrage is that the first outrage usually is that remasters are not needed at all. But then the second outrage is that, oh, you should have remastered this thing instead, which makes the first point hypocritical. But whatever, let's circle back to the first point. Are these remakes needed? These remasters needed? I see a lot of people that are saying, oh, these are needed. Oh, you could play the game. Oh, you could do this. Oh, you could do that. I'm here to tell you once again, they are needed. They may not be needed for you. They're not meant to appeal to you, but you are not the center of the gaming universe. And again, I've made this point before. There are people who didn't get the chance to enjoy the games as they were when those games released. And another point that I've seen people say is, well, why don't those people go back? The game is available at 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5. Why can't they just take the PlayStation 4 version of that game and play it on PlayStation 5? And let me tell you, because it's the PlayStation 4 version of that game that they will be playing on PlayStation 5. If you have the choice, you should play the native version. And this is the same thing as those exact same people 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or even right now, when they have their children and they want to introduce them to Star Wars, do you think they go back and pick up the VHS? No, they don't go back and pick up the VHS. They go and get the latest and greatest way to show off the product because they are proud of that film, because they are proud of the art form. So they go and they buy like the brand new 4K Blu-ray ultraviolet, all of the sci-fi names that he says should be like, this is the latest, most pristine version of this thing we've ever produced. They don't go back and say, show me the old VHS tape just because they have access to it. No, they don't. For a lot of them, of course, obviously they will just go through the whole Disney Plus and everything. But even then, that's because the Disney Plus is a very close approximation of what the Blu-ray does. Even though, if we're being honest, the Blu-ray is still better, of course. But still, you do not go back to the OG version. And I hate this about gamers, man. I hate it in a way that's profound. And I mean that in a really big way. That we don't respect our medium. I don't see it in any other medium. I'm sorry. I know that other media have the problems. I don't see it in other mediums. I don't see how, if a person had, for example, The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight was released before Blu-rays were a thing. I've never seen people in an uproar being like, oh my God, The Dark Knight already came on DVD. Why did they make a Blu-ray version of it? And then why did they make a 4K Blu-ray version of it? And in the future, why do they make it available in 8K? This is ridiculous. It's so dumb. You sound dumb. The person that hasn't had the chance to enjoy it, they should get to have it in the best possible version the company is willing to put the money behind. That is just straight up. Yes, you were fine. You will be fine playing it up on the PlayStation 4 through the PS5, or even playing it on the PlayStation 4 with no patch whatsoever. You just put it in the PlayStation 4 again. You just run the disc and you just play the freshest, most original, most retro version of that game. That is good for you, but again, you are not the center of the universe, and the rest of us want to enjoy things. We do. We do. So this complaint about remasters, and again, it doesn't matter if it's a remaster from Sony or Xbox or Nintendo. The people deserve to play it at the best possible version it's available. They do. It's an art form. We should respect it. We should respect the art that people toured over. If that art has a way to be brought forward, to be realized in a way that was even better than what they were originally, kind of like allowed to do because of the constraints of the technology, that art should get that treatment. That's why I like remakes. I like remakes because it gives them a chance to even polish and go beyond what the original design scope was. But remasters are a good thing also. Now we can all argue about the economic cost that remaster should be put at. What should it cost? Should it be a full $70 title? Should it be an $80 title, a $100 title, a $10 upgrade? Should it be a free upgrade? That's fine. And to that, I will say the exact same thing I always say. A company is allowed to charge whatever they want for their product, whatever they want. And you are allowed to pay whatever you find acceptable. So if you feel like a $10 upgrade is too much, just wait until you acquire it for free, right? It will come through PlayStation Plus at some point, which might be the closest that you get to it. Or maybe a friend will gift it to you, and then that will be how you get it for free. Or maybe you will just never play it because you never don't think that it's worth a single dollar. That's all right. That's your prerogative. You are the customer. You are not a sheep. You have power here. You have a lot of power. So use it, but not to complain, but you just vote with your wallet, literally. But don't try to vote with my wallet. Don't try to vote with someone else's wallet. Vote with yours. If you feel like this is worth the whole $70 and that's what Sony decides to charge, then so be it, buy it at that price. And if you feel like it's somewhere along the way, then just wait until it falls below what you find offensive in terms of price tag, and then acquire it if it pleases you. It's simply an option, but it's an option to you who has already experienced the product, in a way that it's a slightly different way from a person who hasn't gotten a chance to experience it. A person that has never played Days Gone or never played Horizon Zero Dawn but has always been intrigued by it perhaps, or came across it one day and was like, oh, I like to try this, then let them. Like, literally, what harm does it cause you? And again, we've already established that from a company's perspective. It's not like they can just be like, oh, Guerrilla B team, you guys make, I don't know, Soul River again, or you guys go ahead and make like I don't know, the Killzone trilogy remastered. Like, just because they're part of the same studio doesn't always mean that they have access to the tools, the experience, the leadership to do a project right. And considering what happened to Concord, we see that leadership and creative vision is an important thing to have. Speaking of Concord, there's this rumor that this game costs $400 million. I don't even know where it came from. I haven't looked into it. I don't even need to talk a lot about it. But having played the game and enjoying the game and scoring the game a 7 out of 10, and having had a lot of hope that this game could find its way, to earning that 8, earning that 9, maybe even pushing towards that 10 one day, I can tell you there's nothing in that game that is worth $400 million. There's nothing. A multiplayer game like that had those, let's face it, one of the weaknesses was the aesthetic appeal, the visual appeal, especially the skins. Okay, characters were great, but the skins were really terrible. Okay, and had kind of that thing where it felt like a siege to something that could have been good, but it definitely didn't feel like a $400 million product. If I were to put it in my monetary value, kind of using the single player games as a counterpart, like the original Horizon Forbidden West cost $80 million. I feel like that's about what it should have cost. I feel like Concord, what I got was like, oh, this is like an $80 to $100 million product. Like that's kind of the budget range that they said. Something 4 times as much, That's basically impossible. I don't believe this rumor. Now it could be true. I've been wrong before. You be on the internet for a while, you have plenty of opportunity to be wrong. But $400 million, that's insane. I would say that would be a colossal waste of money. To a degree, that would be so uh, obstinate that I just don't believe that anyone, not even Sony, would have been able to just be like, yeah, this is the way that we're gonna go for $400 million. There's nothing that was worth $400 million. Maybe if they had been attached to like a full sci-fi Mass Effect 2 type RPG, like you got like a full, like 90 to $100, sorry, 90 to 100 hour like campaign that you could explore through and through, and then you're gonna multiplayer on top, then maybe that will push in at the $200 to $300 million range. But $400 million, that is ungodly. That is truly ungodly. And yet, if it is true, I wouldn't even be alarmed. Why? Because that will show me that Sony is willing to push the envelope in terms of financial commitment. And if they're willing to do that for an, let's say, unproven project, right? Then I would hope that that means that they are willing to do even more for things that are proven to have appeal. The Last of Us Part 3, Horizon, the next installment, the next project from Santa Monica, which again might not be proven, but at least from a proven team and things like that. Because if you think about it, this team completely unproven in terms of their own output. Yes, they had some people that worked before on previous franchises, and that's cool for a resume. But as a team, as Fireworks Studios, I'm pretty sure that they had done nothing worth of note. And this was their first project. So if Sony is willing to put $400 million into that, that actually kind of gives me confidence that they will be able to push the envelope beyond that $300 million price tag for things, like Spider-Man Part 3, things like that. So that doesn't worry me. And again, it's like, it's a business expense to them. I've seen a lot of people try to play like, I don't know, corporate accountant and basically say that Sony is not allowed to lose this much money on a single project. I don't know why. Why not? Like, I expect $1 billion entertainment from this company. I'm sorry, but I pay a lot of money to play on PlayStation. I'm considering heavily playing on the PlayStation 5 Pro. In fact, I say I'm considering, but that's really a lie. I know I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. I just don't know exactly when and which time frame I'll be allowed to do it, because I'm certainly not going to stress over it. I'm not going to try to beat the scalpers. I'm not going to try to pre-order. I'm going to buy it when it's a very easy walk in and walk out of the store kind of experience. I'm not going to stress about it at all. But I am really looking forward to get a PlayStation 5 Pro, which means I'll be giving them $1,300 to $1,400 of my money in Australian dollars. And I'm sorry, but yeah, I expect money to put money. I expect Sony to put money behind their projects. I'm not gonna stop them. If they want to put $800 million in my beautiful, wonderful sci-fi space RPG single player game that I still want to this day, let them. Like, I want to enjoy it, and I want the graphics. There's this let me just. There's this nobility to gamers nowadays. Gamers in 2024, especially after Astro's Playroom, where they just, I don't know, they're like cockroaches. They get attracted to a particular scent and they'll follow it, and suddenly your house is disgusting, full of cockroaches around. Anyways, this nobility, as I was saying, these noble cockroaches, who are saying that, oh, gameplay matters more. Oh, gameplay over everything. Oh, why don't we get games like Astro's Playroom? Why don't we just why doesn't Sony make more games like that? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Shouldn't we just get more games like this? We don't need the graphics. We don't need the visuals. It's all about the gameplay. It's such liars. Such liars. Because before Astro's Playroom, do you know that Sony made a game that was just as brilliant, if not more so? That was a platformer full of joy, dribbling with PlayStation history as well. In Sackboy's A Big Adventure. And no one read that game, did they? Even though I would say Sackboy is great, Sackboy is cool. Oh, sorry. Astrobot is great. Astrobot is cool. Sackboy might be better. It can be. Because Sackboy you can actually play with friends, couch co-op, and that is hella fun. That's fun in a way that Astrobot right now just isn't. It has almost as much PlayStation history because you have all of the costumes for the characters, and again, they are your favorite characters, like my favorite Aloy, represented in an art style that is just charming and wonderful and true to like the world of Sackboy. But none of you played it. You guys are playing Astrobot because it hit that moment of cultural moment, which is great, by the way. I have no issues with Astrobot. I think it's basically a 10 out of 10 as a platform. It's the best platform I've ever played, and that hurts because Ratchet and Clank is amazing, and I love the guns in Ratchet and Clank, but Astrobot's the best. I mean, it's my game of the year so far. But what I don't like it is when these wonderful games are weaponized to put down a company or another product, and in a disingenuous way. Like if a person had been banging the drums of like Concrete Genie, Flower, Sackboy Big Adventure, Astrobot, and they were just like, these are the best games day in day out that PlayStation has ever made. This is just gameplay and everything's just great. Oh my god, it's great. And they were just like, give me the weird and the offshoots and the this and the that and the artistics and the passion projects. But everyone says that when it's convenient. Once the public has already decided these are great games, how many people were even like having Astrobot like that on the little tarot cards before the game came out, and they saw the critical reception and they saw the player reception? It's so easy now, isn't it? Once everybody's already on that side, to be like, yeah, we should just demand Sony do more of this. But Astrobot isn't gonna sell like that. It isn't. Again, like the tweet I made before, Astrobot isn't going to revive the platformer genre. Again, if you are one of my audience, look at those people that are saying these things and ask yourself, how many of them are going to go and pick up Sackboy A Big Adventure next? Even though it's available on PlayStation Plus Extra, which means that the barrier to entry is as low as it can possibly be, how many of them are going to pick it up? How many of them are going to go look for literally an experience that is so analogous to what Astrobot offers when they say that they want more of this from Sony, and they're not going to go and get it from Sony? How many of them are going to turn up a Mario game again because they're like, oh my god, I'm in a platformer mood. Let me go and play Astrobot. Let me go and play Mario's Odyssey. Let me go and play Luigi's Mansion. Let me go and play all of these platformers because now, oh my goodness, I'm just feeling riled up for platformers. Platformers are the best. Oh my god, 3D platformers, yay! Not gonna happen. How many of them are going to play Returnal when they say that gameplay is everything? How many of them are going to do that? Not going to happen. I don't like disingenuous. Disingenuity. Man, it bothers me. It bothers me because I think it's fake, and I think it doesn't have to be. You can just enjoy Astrobot and be like, yep, this is different from what PlayStation usually offers you, and you like it, and that's it. Like, that's it. And then it comes in the whole, the narrative around it. I'm bothered because I feel like we are acting against our own self-interest as gamers. Like, I will say what I want from Sony. I want big blockbuster action adventure games that are cinematic, that have big bombastic moments, that feel like a production. Games that feel like they're basically moving art. That's what I want. I want the big things, and I want things also that are at the forefront of like what technology can offer. That's what I want. And even Astrobot, yes, it has a very cartoonish, art style that is not trying to be photorealistic, but it is literally pushing the boundaries. The only thing that it doesn't have is ray tracing. I really hope that on the PlayStation 5 Pro it offers a ray tracing mode. But aside from that, it pushes the boundaries of what I think 3D platformer game design can be. It pushes the boundaries of the SSD because if you die in Astrobot, you load quickly, and I like that. It pushes the boundaries of the controller, which is such a big part of how we actually interact with our consoles. So it is doing things that are going to push the medium forward, because as it shows you these little examples of brilliance, I hope that it can inspire other and future projects from game developers to be like, yeah, let's use the DualSense more. Let's make that, respawn time even quicker. Let's travel to worlds very quickly. Let's just make make the best use of the technology that our loyal fans and customers are buying and everything. So it does that, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, like I like Horizon Zero Dawn better. I like Horizon Forbidden was better than like Astrobot. Like again, that's what I want. I don't mind Sony doing an Astrobot because it's great, it's fantastic, and like I said, it is still pushing the boundaries. But at the same time, I don't want just Astrobot. I don't want just platformers. Though I love myself Ratchet and Clank, and I could use another installment. Um, but Last of Us Part Two, man. The Last of Us Part Two is the marvel. It's the pinnacle. God of War Ragnarok, for me, it was a transcendent experience. When I first sat there, and I had right at the beginning that tense moment when Thor comes to the door and he first unveils Mjolnir and then he reaches back and he's like, "Hey, can I come in?" And I was like, "What? They're gonna sit down and talk." This, and then the way that Odin comes in and he's like, "You know who I am?" I was like, "Wow, this is pure cinema. This is what I live for." I could literally feel my pulse breathing because I'm just like, the writing, the technical accuracy, the quality on screen. It was just oozing. To be able to replay that on an even more powerful piece of hardware has me excited. I want to know what it plays like on the PlayStation 5 Pro. But that original moment, that one scene alone propels it beyond whatever Astrobot could ever reach for me, because to me it's transcendent. It goes beyond just what a game can be. It goes into theater, it goes into film, it goes into plays, it goes into books, it goes into narratives. It goes into stories told around the campfire, moments of sheer human brilliance that are able to be captured and performed for your entertainment, for my entertainment. I love this art so much, and it's just, I hate to see people cheapen it. I hate to see people think that somehow an Astrobot is more valuable or more noble, than something like a God of War Ragnarok. Why? It isn't. And it doesn't have to be. We can enjoy them both. We can enjoy them separately. You can enjoy one versus another. But they shouldn't be in contest. Just like when we take a look at a movie that is as meticulous as Inception or Interstellar, it doesn't take away from like the art house project that is done by like a local college somewhere, and they just call it something pretentious like the blue doors in the wood, and it's like, if you go, you could become a huge fan of the blue doors in the wood, but you're not going to say to the blue doors in the wood, all of cinema should be like you. No, you have the different flavors. And I feel like gamers are the only ones that fight for less diversity in every sense. Like, we want less diversity in games. We want less diversities in the people that act our games. We want less diversities in the characters we play through our games, or the things we go to, or the places we see, or the stories we experience. Like, I remember when Goodbye Volcano High was first announced, and when it came through the PlayStation 2020 showcase, I think I didn't think much of it. I didn't think it was a game for me, but at the same time, I just was surprised by the vitriol from people who were just mocking the game. Like, yes, it had a lot of Life is Strange vibes. Yes, it felt, I haven't played the game, but it felt like it had to do with a lot of, like, I guess, real world issues around like identity, what it means to find yourself, possibly some gender identity in there, things. And it's like, it's fine for those topics to be discussed. Just because I don't gravitate to it doesn't mean that those things should not exist in games. Because again, like, if a person goes to the movie to see Marvel Productions, or they want to see Iron Man 2 or Iron Man again for the 15th time, right? That person at the movies that is seeing that rerun or whatever Doesn't go to the next like movie thing and and then be like, oh, why is this artsy fartsy project up on the screen? They're just like, yeah, okay, cool. Different people like different things, and then they just move on. And again, you go to a library and there's like billions of books in a library, and no one who likes one particular genre of books doesn't go like if a person likes fantasy the way that I do. I don't go to true crime and be like, ugh, why does true crime exist? Oh no, I wish that option didn't exist at all. It's so weird. I'm sorry, if you guys know anyone else, like, you've got to tell me because I think gamers are the only community that do this to themselves. It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh, let's go back to your PlayStation 5 Pro. Talk about PC gamers. Um, Not PC gamers actually, the fake ones, the fake PC gamers, one of those cockroaches types that we have, just without any nobility, just the cockroaches that the other cockroaches look down upon, those guys. These are the guys, the PC parts picker people, the ones that are trying to build you a PC that you're going to put inside of a cardboard box and hopefully it will not set your house on fire. Those people. I think they have done a tremendous job of proving the value of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Because, it's a little bit like when a kid is 8 years old and you see the way that he behaves around a particular, girl or whatever, and you're like, oh, you like her. And this kid will swear up and down vehemently that he does not like that girl. In fact, he doesn't like any girls. In fact, girls are disgusting. In fact, girls disgust him. They are ill. He would never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, never, ever, 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 never like Maria. And in his proclamation, that in fact, he does like her. And this is the exact same thing that I've seen to these PC Kremlings. Because in trying so hard to prove that you could somehow build an approximate slightly better or slightly worse or just thereabouts version of PlayStation 5 Pro on PC for approximately or slightly higher or a lot higher or slightly less or about the same price, you have proven that you feel threatened. You have proven its value. And it's so weird because you're acting like that 8-year-old boy. If you just didn't like Maria, you should have just said, oh, no, I don't like her. And everyone would have believed you, no matter how true or false that statement would be, because you would have acted nonchalant and indifferent. But in trying so hard to prove you don't like Maria, we all know you will marry Maria in a second, in a heartbeat. And that's the thing that I think scares PC gamers. If you weren't so afraid, you will buy the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? You tell yourself that you want because you don't want to pay for the internet, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. In reality, you don't have to pay for the internet. Most of the games you play on it will probably be single player anyway. You don't need it then. And the other games that you play on it, well, they will probably be the free live service multiplayer games, which also don't require PlayStation Plus for internet access. So you could just buy it. You could be happy. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to add anyone on your friend list. You just create yourself your little free PSN account, and then you would just enjoy great games. And I think that scares you. I think it scares all of you how tempting this is. I'm not talking about the true PC Master Race people. You guys that have the 4090s and the 4080s, you guys are exempt from this because you've made your choice. You're happy. And you were never part of this conversation because you will never have debased yourself to this level, these cockroaches. You guys are in the upper echelon. And I, pay respect, take my hat off to you guys. But to the Kremlings, you guys are terrified. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You're not 8 years old anymore. You're supposed to be more mature than this. Just say, I don't like Maria. And you will be so much more believed. But no, you do. You do like the PlayStation 5 Pro. You're afraid how much you like it. And I think you're afraid because once upon a time, at least, but probably still true to this day, you built yourself a dog shit PC. You just built yourself a complete piece of crap that has been disappointing you from the moment you turned it on and you booted it the first time, and you realize immediately you needed to upgrade your parts, but you haven't upgraded them yet, right? You're still playing on your little 1080p monitor. You're still telling yourself that you just need to lower the settings. just lower it to medium, and then just turn a few things to low, and then you're good. You're playing at like 57 to 73 frames per second. You've got the little counter up there, the MSI afterburner thing. You got a little thing, your little widget there to tell you how many frames you're getting, so you can feel more superior, to the people playing on console. They're playing on PlayStation 5, and they have to use FSR, or they have to use checkerboard rendering because they're playing at 4K. But you dismiss that; it's not true 4K anyway. Who cares? And then sure, they're playing on like an 85-inch screen, but you've got yourself a 27-inch monitor from 2016, and it's still working. And really, that's a smart investment. And you're going to buy yourself a curved monitor soon, and that's going to be like 42 inches, and then you'll use it to flex online as you type on Twitter with it most of the time. But it doesn't matter. That's what you're going to do. But here comes the issue. The PlayStation 5 Pro. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a second. I was going to buy myself a 4080. Or a 5080, because that's what you're also telling yourself. You're telling yourself that lie. No, it's not that you've been poor. It's not that you've refused to upgrade PC because you don't actually like playing on PC that much. It's not that. The issue is that you've been waiting. You're a smart consumer. You already know the 40 series cards are about to be phased out. You're in touch with your NVIDIA self. I was going to say feminine self, but that would be an insult to women. No, you're in touch with your NVIDIA self. You're a smart consumer, and you know the 50 series cards are just around the corner, just like you've been telling yourself for the last 18 months. They're just around the corner. So you told yourself that you would wait. You told yourself that it would be smarter to wait. I mean, of course it will, because the 5080, if you think about it, is going to be as powerful as a 4090 now. And you've told yourself all these things, and then when it comes out, it's going to be about like $800, $900. It doesn't matter, right? And then you're going to put that in, and you ignore. I mean, you can't tell yourself the full truth. That'd be terrible. You ignore the fact that, well, once you got the 5080 or whatever, right? Then you'll have to, upgrade your CPU. But let's face it, you bought this computer in like 2019, 2020, somewhere during the pandemic, right? And when you bought it, you weren't really thinking about, getting all of that, performance out of it. So really, you kind of bought a case that was kind of too small, and you didn't really like building a computer in it. And at the same time, let's face it, you're at the end of the CPU generation. You're gonna need a new motherboard. Okay, so alright, so you're gonna buy the 5080 first, of course, right? Because it's the GPU that matters the most. That's like the biceps on the guy. Then you're gonna go and get yourself a new CPU. You're gonna get yourself an Intel. By this time, it'll be like a 14 series something. But you're gonna get the i7 version this time, not the i5 that you got. Maybe even the i9. Oh, but then if you got the i9, did they even make an i9 anymore? You figure it out. But even if you get the i7, you need to upgrade your cooler, because the kind of cooler that you have is kind of shit. Yeah, because you were just trying to get the parts that you wanted. You're just trying to get something that works during the pandemic. You were just trying to get something that worked during the pandemic, but now you're going to upgrade it. And then by the time you do everything, you realize that, well, if you're going to replace your motherboard, you need to replace your RAM, you need to replace your CPU. Well, you're definitely going to get a new GPU. That's the entire point of this thing. By the time you do all of this, now you're bearing down the barrel. You're already at like $1,800. And this whole time, there's a PlayStation 5 Pro. And you could just buy that. And it hurts your soul, because that's the smartest decision. So yeah, anyways, it must be hard to be a PC gamer. Couldn't be me. Oh my goodness. Wow, miserable. Okay. Is there anything else I want to talk about? You know what, guys? I'm going to go and take a look at the tweeters to see if there's anything else worth kind of mentioning over here, because there's so many things I miss out on, so just bear in mind with me. Let's see. Over here, some Xbox people being fake. That's fine. Microsoft says something about how several Bonds and Phil Spencer didn't agree, because Phil Spencer basically doesn't know what his mind is, but that's okay. We all knew that. Let's see. Anything interesting? Blah, 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 blah. I don't even think so, man. I think that was pretty much it. Oh. Hmm. Nah. Oh, right. PlayStation 5 Pro again. Sorry, I keep going back to this topic. But some preliminary analysis came out from the Digital Foundry guys or whatever. I don't like Digital Foundry. I never liked them. I'm sorry. I don't care if they're supposed to be the experts. They've not proven to be trustworthy to me. However, trust your eyeballs and forget the science fiction. Listen, man. If you watch Digital Foundry, watch them on mute. Don't let them try to explain to you what is happening in the photo, because the truth is, even if they are accidentally right, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. What matters is what you see with your own eyes and see if you like it. And in that sense, then I would say it's fair enough to point out that the Final Fantasy VII screenshots that have come out, the difference between the PlayStation 5 base model and the PlayStation 5 Pro, tremendously high. Another subject of talk recently has been Dragon Age in the Veilguard. I have to say, man, listen, boy, I whew, I hate Dragon Age the Veilguard. I think it looks awful. I think it looks like if um if Fortnite had been a yeah, I think it looks like if Fortnite had been Dragon Age. It looks like the Fortnitification of Dragon Age, and it doesn't look good to me at all. I'm sorry, it doesn't look good. However, apparently they're having issues with the character creator because some people are mad for some reason. And again, this is what I mean by I think gamers just appreciate being mad, man. I think it's all that they managed to do.
Gaming news.
Sorry, it's all that they managed to do, and I was just searching for videos to see what the topics were of the week. You know what? This is fine. This is fine. I am happy with the topics that we've covered so far. So we're just gonna wrap this up. I didn't even mean to create any distraction. Okay, so yeah, where were we? We're talking about Dragon Age the Veilguard. So apparently the character creator has upset some people. You know, that's how I feel about it. It's just like it's a bit annoying because these conversations keep getting wasted talking about things that don't matter. But if you're upset, if it bothers you that certain options are available, I highly recommend you don't use them. If it bothers you more than that, don't buy the game. It is what it is. It's your prerogative. Do whatever you want with your money, but it is weird to buy a product that you're just gonna be upset over. So it is what it is. If they have pronouns and those are a big deal for you, it is what it is. Like again, I'm not particularly like, oh my god, pronouns are great. Like it is what it is. It can get annoying, right? But it's whatever. But I'm not like mad about them enough to like do anything about. I just think the game looks stupid. I'm sorry, it's just the art style. There was this screenshots of Dragon Age the Veilguard that I saw, and it's supposed to be like Dragon Age is a dark fantasy, and it's something that we don't actually see a lot. Like actually dark. It's supposed to be quite kind of miserable. Like the world of Dragon Age, it can be beautiful, but it's supposed to be miserable. The politics are meant to be heavy. The context, the subterfuge, the main topics and the subtopics that fall beneath those, all of those are meant to be kind of elevated there in terms of how adult oriented and adult themes those are. That's cool, and I love it for that. And I understand that in the past that they've had a more cartoonish kind of look. Like if you go back and you look at Dragon Age Origins, it does have a cartoonish appeal. However, it felt like it was the best representation of photorealistic visuals, despite appearing cartoonish in itself. It felt like how you imagine PlayStation 1 games to have looked, and then you go back and they look nothing like your imagination because your imagination filled in so much of the world and so much of what was around you. So things where you just have like a single rectangular block of like blue, and that was the sky. And clearly, as a kid, you knew that was the sky, so you imagined a real sky. But now you look back 30 years later, you're like, God damn, that was just like a block of blue. Like it wasn't even. It's just like a rectangle, like pasted at the top of the screen. You didn't even have anything else. But again, your imagination filled it in. I feel like the art style of Dragon Age has always been right at the forefront there, where it's like they were cartoony, but because of the hardware limitation, rather than because they were going for a cartoony look. So in my mind, when I think about Dragon Age, it's always been very grounded in its art style. But this one is just a complete opposite. Like this one is even trying to be like, oh, we couldn't quite make it to photorealism. This one is like, no, we're just Fortnite. It looks like a Fortnite season, and that bothers me, man. I'm sorry, I can't. There are these glowing blue enemies, and I was like, I can't take this seriously. Are these supposed to be the Darkspawn, or some other, monsters from beyond the veil? And here I am, and they're glowing blue, and I've got like a purple cape, and I just look like a Fortnite character, and yeah, so I don't like it for that. I don't care about the character creator because I wouldn't want to create a character in it. And even if I did, I don't think those particular options that certain people, certain grifters online are telling people to be angry about, I don't think that those are an issue at all. I think that exclusivity is, I was going to say exclusivity is great. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Inclusivity is great. And in fact, exclusivity is good for buffoons, so gatekeep your circles, just gatekeep your gaming circles. Don't let people rile you up for no reason. There's valid criticism to be made for any game, and any kind of like fake, criticism kind of takes the life away from something else that the developers may actually need to hear. Okay, I think that's it. We're just gonna do our traditional little bit of rambling in the end because it's hard to part ways. We're just gonna talk a little bit towards the end of the day, and then then I'll let you go, and then you let me go, and then we'll both be good to go. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. So what should we talk about? We should talk about interior design. Listen, have beautiful spaces around you because it can help uplift you when you're feeling down, and it can it can help make you less sad. If life is kind of just kicking you in the ribs. At least you come home to a beautiful created space. So I think it's worth putting the effort into having a beautiful home. And it doesn't have to cost you much money. Number one, clean. Number two, organized. Number three, throw away junk. And you're literally 80% of the way there. You're just going to curate a few items, get a beautiful home, put some art on the wall, hopefully something that you've created yourself or something that has been created by someone that you know, someone that you love, or someone that you want to support. Try to get something like art that is artisanal. Don't go and buy IKEA prints, or some generic, posters that are like live, love, laugh. Like, nah, don't do that. Get yourself some really beautiful pieces of art that are curated, that are meaningful to you. If you have the money and you can get an artisan to work with you and to expand your vision in a way that you may not be able to do with your own natural talents, certainly do that. Try to work with someone one-on-one. Always remember that when you're in a position of privilege where you can go and spend, a high budget on a particular thing, that money going to like an artisan, especially one at the beginning, towards the beginning of the career or the business, is going to do a lot more good to the world than you just going and buying the, premium luxury shop version of that thing. So, bring beautiful items into your home, bring beautiful pieces. And if you don't have the mind for it, but you do have the privilege, then go ahead and hire yourself an interior designer or somebody that can help you to create your house and walk you through all the steps and make your home beautiful, not just for yourself, but for your family and your friends and anyone that comes to visit. So yeah, and drink some tea. Have tea. Tea is great. Tea is a great thing. Oh, have things that you enjoy in life. I think my life that's been the one thing that I've done that I think I'm actually proud of. I don't think I'm that proud of many things that I've done, but the one thing that I've done is that through happen chance, or I guess through some intent, I have been able to do and own, and spend time with a lot of things and people that I genuinely like. Like go ahead and do the things that you like, and it's not a pressure, by the way. It's not a competition. If you haven't played your favorite hobby in a while, let's say that your favorite hobby is fishing. You haven't gone fishing in 2 years. It's okay. It really is. Like, there's many things that I love to do that I actually haven't seriously or actively done for like 2+ years, and it's okay. anyone trying to make you feel bad because you don't get up at 5 a.m. the way you used to 5 years ago or whatever, I think is either an idiot or they are just misconstrued in what they should be, the kind of message that we're putting out into the world. So it's okay. I think life works in ebbs and flows. And if right now you are in a flow state for a particular activity, please enjoy that to the maximum. Like really. And this is why I love gaming so much, because for me, it's easy to be in a flow state when it comes to gaming, you know? And yeah, enjoy it to the max. Like that's why I don't like poverty level gaming, like where people, again, not the judgment of their finances, but judgment of the mindset when it comes to gaming, where they want to cheapen the gaming. No, I don't like that. um enjoy it to the fullest, man. And if you're in an ebb, kind of state where you haven't really been actively pursuing a particular hobby that you know that you love already, that's okay too, man. It really is. You don't have to force yourself. I feel like I spend too much time thinking about all of the things I should be doing, the things I should be enjoying, to the point where it is to the detriment of the things that I actually do. I'm kind of in the phase for, I'm kind of like in vibration for. So yeah, that would be my unasked for, unwanted life advice. That's apparently what you get at the end of the videos now. So yeah, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. It's great. It's great. I'm gonna turn up. I'm gonna go now. But feel free to post to me how life changing this has all been for you at the end of this already long video. Okay, y'all have fun. Y'all have a good day. Ciao.